Records attempt has begun!
4,525 hungry people showed up in their stretchy pants ready to shovel in the pies. Colin Kaplan with Taste of New Haven organized the event.
The guys here today made 625 pies.
That's 10,000 slices.
I'm proud of my team, and I'm so impressed.
Each person had to eat at least 2.
I'm feeling really good.
And according to the Guinness World Records spokesperson,
the record to be stood at 3,357 people. The new record is 4,525. Congratulations, New Haven!
Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro celebrated the record.
If it's New Haven, it's pizza. And my congratulations to you.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-201-7676, 800-201-7676, 800-201-7676.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today brings sunshine and another warm day with a high of 84, with a clear sky tonight on the way down to a low of 59. For tomorrow, it stays warm and quite sunny with a high of 85. For Tuesday, expect sunshine to give way to more high clouds through the day, but it stays quite warm with a high of 81. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli.
Political influencer Charlie Kirk was shot and killed on a Utah college campus Wednesday in the latest politically motivated attack in the United States. Assassination attempts have been made against Governor Josh Shapiro and President Donald Trump. Minnesota's Speaker of the House and her husband were killed this summer. And many more attempts have been made against figures on both sides of the aisle. This latest killing, while incredibly tragic, gives us an opportunity to take a long, hard look at ourselves. Violence isn't exclusive to one side or the other. It is an American problem. An overwhelming majority of us, left and right, find political violence disgusting and abhorrent. We are the ones that need to come together to say no more. We love our family, friends, and neighbors, despite their political beliefs.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
Rob Frax on the voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
Good morning. It's your Pratt Pack. It's a Sunday, and the Trump administration is sending a $58 million request to Congress to increase security for the executive and judicial branches in the wake of the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Multiple sources familiar with the matter telling CBS News yesterday. Now more than ever, we have to do our due diligence, look around. Yes, even hopefully have enough security for people who need it. And I believe that this death of Charlie Kirk is going to change the landscape when it comes to those who are speaking about issues. Yes, it will be a little tentative at times, and we will have fear for the ones that we support, and we know that others don't. But I also think it could actually change the thought process, because I hear more from both sides of the political aisle and people against what happened to the point where it has absolutely horrified them. Yes, even those have said the fear, the sadness has never been this bad in their lifetime. People who've been around for a long time and like me have dealt with many headlines like this. I don't know what it is. Didn't know that much about him, knew of him, but I wasn't one of his avid followers. But seeing his wife, his children, I guess it has something to do with being a little older and maybe a little wiser and understanding what the most important things in life are. I commend the president for stepping up and asking for that, because the last thing you want, because we've seen so many numbers dwindle to where it's become anemic when it comes to some of the things that really matter in this country, like teachers, law enforcement members. Yes, those people who are out there every day making a difference, especially those first responders, because of pushback in a lot of ways from just the average citizen, using video cameras to turn what is a good story into a bad story that goes viral and no one ever knows the truth. Just a sound clip as opposed to the entire video. I know one thing. We cannot stop talking about issues, and we have to make sure that more young people get engaged in the political content of the future of this country, because debate is what made us the most powerful free nation in the world, and we cannot stop it. And I commend her, Erica Kirk, for moving forward with his Turning Point platform. September the 18th will be their next stop. And hearing her words the other day made me understand what courage is all about. I admire her for who she is, but I also pray for her for what lies ahead. But I know the world is a better place because we continue to talk about issues, and I also think Charlie Kirk did not die in vain. As tragic and as horrific as it is, and I'm one of those mourning his loss like millions throughout this country, and yes, even around the world, I think the nation will actually learn from this, or at least I pray that we learn from this. Yeah, there's stuff out there that just is heartbreaking. And, you know, I was at dinner last night with a childhood friend. We were just talking about life and, in general, what it was like when we were growing up in the 60s and the 70s, where we are today, and just discussing current events. But as I was talking to him, I was so happy to see him, and I always am, and it does bring back great memories, his mom and dad, and that innocent age growing up in Beaver County. But my eyes at times were just basically glaring into the future over his shoulder, thinking about what lies next and what has changed and really become so different since those innocent days of the 60s and 70s, and he and I just spending endless days of just enjoying life and grasping everything that was golden. It's not so golden anymore. It's kind of frightening. And I was thinking about young men and women in that same neighborhood some 50 plus years later, what they must be thinking about, what they must be dealing with when they walk around that same neighborhood and those headlines compared to the way they were when I was growing up. Yeah, we had the Vietnam War and we had horrific things like assassinations and, you know, the decline of the manufacturing base that started in the late 70s. But we never dealt with such violence and anger and horror like we deal with today. So I hope the best for our nation, and I do feel sad, and it is just heartbreaking that this man lost his life. But we also have to understand words are not a weapon. Words are just a thought. And we have so many of them in our thought process that one word will turn into 2 to 3 to 4. And before you know it, you'll be thousands of words ahead of yourself. And what upset you about what somebody said will be just a distant memory. And by then, you'll have another discussion and another issue and another possibility of solving things. But the one thing we cannot do, America, we cannot go into neutral. We cannot shut down. We cannot go dormant when it comes to talking about the issues in this country. And we have to stop this shouting each other down, trying to overpower someone with our words. You know, I've even taken upon myself to kind of sit back a little bit with my audience and give them a chance to finish a sentence before I decide I don't like what they're saying, or I think it's not right, or I have a different opinion, but I have to jump in and stop them in mid-sentence. It's not easy, but I think if I can do it, the wordsmith that I am and the business that I'm in, and I'm grateful to be in to have this platform trying to make a difference every day, I think you and you and you and you can all do a better job. But the people who really need to do a better job are the politicians in this country at every level, from that local school board meeting to something happening in the state capitol to the nation's capital. We have to find a way to respect the debate process. You know, Remember when your mom and dad would say, okay, let's sit down at dinner and talk it out. Let's discuss it. Let's see what the issue is here. And whatever was going on in your life, whether it was school or you were having an argument with your sibling, they would get you in the same room and they would act as judge and jury. But they gave you a chance to discuss. And the thing that I think we need to understand, the world we live in is one big courtroom. It really is. You have the defense and you have the prosecution and you have that judge. But in the end, life goes on. It's just one moment in time. But that moment in time in Utah the other day will be frozen in the minds of not just all of us, but his wife, his children, his friends, his fans, obviously people that he grew up with, friends like the one I was talking to. That's a shame, but hopefully we can find strength moving forward and we can learn from it and actually make the world a better place. As always, you can listen to us at 100.1 FM, AM 1020, KDKA on the Odyssey app, AUDACY, but you can also watch us online with our KDKA video stream presented by Metropolitan Window Company. Just go to KDKRadio.com and click on Watch KDK Radio Livestream, or now you can just go to KDK Radio YouTube, our page, to watch everything we are doing in the studio. So let's get to some calls. We only have open talk until 6, where you can also go NASCO Roofing, instant access to our shows. Just a click away. Email us at instantacces@kdkradio.com. Number to dial, 866-391-1020. Can we change the narrative in this country? Can we learn from this tragedy? I hope so. Back with more in a moment.
This Tuesday at 7 p.m., join Nan Cohen for a doubleheader. Nan welcomes Dana Marsteller of Savvy Again Consignment Boutique, a new store in McMurray. In the second half, Dan McIntyre will join Nan to be totally talking divorce. That's this Tuesday at 7 p.m.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations to serve you better, a Pittsburgh tradition. In an overtime thriller, Pitt was on the verge of overcoming a sluggish first half only to cough up a 10-point fourth quarter lead en route to a 31-24 overtime defeat to West Virginia. Elsewhere of local interest games, Penn State defeated Villanova 52-6, Duquesne over Lehigh 35-21. Today, Jerry Schmidt, the head coach of the Dukes, on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show. It was Notre Dame being upset by Texas A&M 41-40. Ohio State, easy day against Ohio University, 37-9. Robert Morris over West Liberty, 28-14. Today, it's the first home game of the 2025 season for our Pittsburgh Steelers. They kick off at 1 against Seattle at Acrisure Stadium. They are a 3.5-point favorite. And a stellar pitching performance by Bubba Chandler in his second career start in the Bigs. It was the Bucks over Washington 5-1. And Terrence Crawford is the new undisputed super middleweight champion of the world after a 12-round decision over Canelo Alvarez. More sports at 937thefan.com.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even I added too much water to the pizza dough day?
Yep.
How about getting a call from my daughter to pick her up at the airport because her boyfriend is unreliable day?
Especially that day.
What about finding out that one of my pipes suddenly burst in my basement day?
Progressive has every day covered 24/7 with a Home and Auto Bundle. Also, you have a lot of bad days.
Oh no, that was all the same day.
At least you're covered with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
What would you do if you had a little bit more money to do it?
I'd go to law school.
I'd open a bakery. I'd travel to visit my grandparents I haven't seen in 10 years. We all have things we want to do in life, and there are people who want to help you do them. So how do we best ask for that help? GoFundMe, the #1 fundraising platform. No matter what your goals are, GoFundMe helps you take an important step toward them. Start your GoFundMe today at gofundme.com/radio. That's gofundme.com/radio. This is a commercial message sponsored by GoFundMe.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Pittsburgh's 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, let's get going here on the phone lines. Here is Joanne from Point Breeze. Good morning, Joanne.
Good morning, Rob. You know, this whole thing really scares me that there's, you know, if you have that mic or a podcast anymore, you can make numerous amounts of money. 90 million, they're saying he was worth. But a lot of times, talking about differences.
Joanne, you got to turn that radio down.
Talking about differences in people because they're not like you or they don't look like you. And you have that many people that feel it's okay. So the whole thing scares me. It's a sad state. It's what our country is about. But until, and I don't think that'll ever happen, but who knows, people can stop degrading or talking about people that don't look like you. You have that many followers. When that's part of your message, it's just a scary thing. And I see copycats. I see copycats out there. You know, if something's going to happen, people can make a way to happen, even with the most people guarding you. And as I said, God bless the family, God bless America, but I can see copycats, and this is a scary aspect of what this country is about. Thanks, Rob. Have a good week.
All right, Joanne. Thank you. All right, let's go to Kevin in Imperial. Hey, Kevin. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Rob. As we're sharing the sentiment with millions of others across this country, the sadness of the loss of a bright young man like Charlie Kirk and his pursuit of having open dialogue, which has been drastically lost over the years. I could say a whole bunch of different things, like other than I'm going to try to get to one or two key points in this whole tragedy. One thing I'd like to say is that our forefathers built our country on that pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Those were very important to them, and they built that knowing they had to have a new dream, a new vision, a new program. Even with broken men back then, they weren't perfect, but they had the ideology of what can we do to create a safe society, an open society, a free society. And the aspect was with the Lord God in that mix. They didn't say it was a theocracy. They said it was a republic, but they wanted to build those principles on where everyone would be given the freedom to speak what they need to speak, but with dignity and restraint, not to crush and undermine somebody. That's what the whole point of they wanted to be a new nation, free. You fast forward in the 1900s, I'm going to make it real quick. In Western Europe, you had a man, which is Adolf Hitler, who had this ideology, a dangerous one, which is socialism, the Nazi idea of National Socialism. And he gathered a group of people that slowly built it up in the 20s and then into the 30s. And he had on his cabinet one man, and it's back then, without all this massive technology we had, which was Joseph Goebbels, who was the propaganda minister. His job was tasked with putting out there suppression of everything other than the Nazi idea. The radio, they only were allowed to have a radio that in propaganda what their ideas were. The newspaper. And then slowly with that, he himself was quoted saying, if you tell people a lie enough, over and over and over and over again, they will believe it. And that's what his job was. And he repeated the same ideology with their radical ideas of what they wanted their new nation to be. And part of that was the suppression of speech. It got to the point where even people that were their closest neighbors, if they heard somebody speak against the Nazi Party, they were turned over to the Gestapo, the secret police within the police. They had the people policing themselves. They believed that, and they built that out of fear. They built that out of just a thought process that we have to maintain this in order to control, because we don't want outside influence at all. We don't want dialogue. We don't want discussion. What we say is right, and to the point where we see now in the history what they did with the Jewish people. It's their fault that there's wars. They own all the banks. They own this. It's this group of people. It's that group of people. They have to be eliminated. They have to be silenced. And fast forward to today. Now we see that. And that's what that whole point that Charlie Kirk was trying to say. Let's have critical thinking, which has been lost in the Education Institute. Critical thinking means you sit down and you talk. And he said this himself, where he said, if we stop talking, then something dangerous will happen, because then you lose sight of the fact that you're talking with people. You don't shut that out. And I'm afraid that with the massive power that social media has now, so many people can shut out the fact that you have a disagreement with somebody, but you don't see them as a person. You try to take that element out. And I see the end result with that so much, where people become, especially in, I guess that would say the Gen Z, is that they see only a screen, but they don't see people. They don't interact and debate with people. And if the word that I've learned over the last couple of years is cognitive dissonance, where you can't afford to hear anything that comes against this idea, because you feel it's based that your world will fall apart if you're found to be wrong. Instead of just saying it's okay to be wrong, it's okay to disagree, it's okay to not have everything right. That's what our forefathers said. That's why you have open dialogue in a program like yours, Rob, where we can have open discussion, and there doesn't have to be hurling of hurtful words and this and that and the other because you disagree. And that's what Charlie was trying to do. And I think he made the point that in Education Institute with a lot of young people, he got these people to finally say, wait a minute, let me hear what you're having to say and not shut you out. And the sadness is that his unnecessary death was just simply like, okay, instead of you being either fired from your job because you stood up for something, or you being ostracized from society, now it's like to the point, well, then we'll need to remove your life in order to silence you, because I don't want to hear what you have to say.
All right, Kevin, I gotta wrap it up here, but you did
okay. I'm sorry.
No, you did a great job describing it. But here's the key: what has happened in this country, people stopped communicating. They become isolated. The pandemic had a lot to do with it, but it started long before that. They do the deep dive in all the social media, and if you keep seeing it over and over, you start believing some of their stuff. And they can't really determine what is a true journalism fact as opposed to a social media and wannabe fact. And what also happens, they become so isolated that they're afraid to speak up or speak out. So what Charlie was trying to do, from what I basically take from all of it, was just trying them to get up and talk. Even if he had to poke them a little bit and stir things up, he just wanted them to initiate some sort of conversation. Agree or disagree with him wasn't really the point. The point was to actually have a voice. And the only way we survive and fight off any tyranny is by having a voice. Well said, Kevin. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day. Anybody else wants to jump in here, now's the time. 866-391-1020. We're going to get up to Mount Washington and talk to Ted when we get back on the other side. CBS Radio News is moments away. Don't forget Tech Vibe Radio after that. Local news at 6. Doug in the 7 o'clock hour. The Coons Cooking Hour at 8. Bridget Shufo is here at 9. Accurate Solutions. And then the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Designed for working adults, focused on the future. Classes start September 17th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
While you sleep, there are people you've never met who are working hard to make your morning. People who get up at ungodly hours to make sure you get the information you want while you sleep. People who dedicate their lives to make yours better while you sleep. These people come together during the Big K Morning Show with Larry Richard, 5:30 to 10 in the morning, to make sure you have the best news, traffic, and weather to start your day. Wake up to your friends, weekday mornings on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. From the Aetna Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. In Phoenix, supporters of Charlie Kirk are showing up to a makeshift memorial, mourning his death.
It hurts me that people have so much hatred in their hearts.
A memorial service will be held a week from today at State Farm Stadium. President Trump says he will attend. Secretary of State Rubio is in Israel. The trip taking place after Israel launched an attack against Hamas leaders, meeting in Doha on Tuesday. The BBC's Wira Davies.
There's no doubt that the U.S. regards that Israeli attack against the Hamas leadership in Qatar as a mistake, as an error. Benjamin Netanyahu, we understand, has already had a very difficult, frosty phone call rebuked by Donald Trump.
Dina Demetrius with a preview of the Emmys tonight on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
With 27 nominations, the dystopian Apple TV series Severance is likely to dominate the evening, with stiff competition from HBO Max's medical series The Pit.
CBS News Brief. I'm Stacey Lynn.
Did you miss this week's Allegheny Health Network Medical Frontiers? Log on to the Allegheny Health Network website to listen to your favorite Medical Frontier show. Visit ahn.org/Medical Frontiers podcast and look for your favorite Medical Frontiers show.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
Support St. Anthony School programs and help students with special needs achieve their full potential through inclusive education, therapy services, and job skills development, serving students ages 5 through 21 with Down syndrome, autism, and other intellectual disabilities. Find them within select Catholic schools in the Pittsburgh area, including a post-secondary program at Duquesne University. For over 70 years, St. Anthony School has empowered students of all faiths to live independently and contribute meaningfully to society. Learn more or donate at stanthonykids.org.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today brings sunshine and warmth with a high of 84, with tonight featuring a generally clear sky and a low of 59. Tomorrow looks rather similar with a good deal of sunshine throughout the day and a high getting up to 85. Then for Tuesday, sun fades behind some high clouds through the day with a high of 81. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, we'll be back on Monday. Lots happening. We'll talk to Rich Fitzgerald as well. So big Monday after this weekend, and little Steelers will sprinkle in. Catch you then. Colin Dunlap, 2 to 6, coming up on Monday, KDK.
I don't know. It's just sad to see what's happened to our world when you can't really even, disagree. It's just sad. And this individual, this Tyler Robinson, I don't know. It's just where his thought process, no matter how it got there, but how does it get there? All right, let's go to Ted, Mount Washington. Ted, good morning.
What's going on, Rob?
Sunday morning, going to be a nice day here in the Berg. Looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love all your callers yesterday. They made excellent points.
Yeah, they did. So did you, by the way.
Well, I'm going to play the devil's advocate. All right, I'll ask you this question. Here's why I'm here on the street. They say this man, Charlie Kirk, was nothing more than a white supremacist who is pretty much hiding under Christianity, feeling hate against blacks, Jews, and gays. Now, I don't know. I don't know. I may have to read some of his writings.
And now, have you heard the latest, though? He was supposed to live with a transgender. Did you hear that?
I heard that, too.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to bring
I'm
that
just
to
saying,
the
this
conversation.
stuff is out there.
Yeah. We don't know all the facts yet. A lot of stuff still has to be done as far as investigating.
Okay. Well, what do you think? Do you think that's true?
I don't know. But, you've heard it. I've heard it. I don't know. I'm not going to rush to judge anything. But obviously, he was dealing with some demons, for sure, as far as his thought process to Charlie Kirk, or he wouldn't have did what he did. I know we have mental illness in this country, and I pray that we find a way to help people. But how could anybody just walk into a crowd with a 30-06, climb up and pull the trigger? What kind of dislike and hate or just anger do you have in your heart? Because there's got to be something in the back of your head saying, the moment I squeeze this trigger, my life's over. Who wants to end their life figuratively or literally at 22? My goodness, you haven't even lived yet. It's just horrible.
Well, we're losing a lot of young men to violence. We really are. And with Trump, he looked like he was shook. I'll be honest. When they asked him, the media asked him, "Are you worried about your personal safety?" And the look on his face, I think two things with Trump. I think he feels a little bit responsible for the death of Charlie. I really do.
Oh, I don't think that.
I think, when you get in politics and you're young, and, from what I read, he looked at him as his son. So I think there is a little bit regret in that. And I'll be honest, with Trump, I just don't know. This may be decline in him. I think this really hurt him.
They say that just about every time something happens, and he just comes back with a vengeance. You know that.
Yeah, but I think this is different Trump. I really do. For him.
Well, I also think but I also think, Teddy, I think he's, as we all are, facing our own mortality.
Yes, you hit it right there. I see that. I really do. For the first time, he's thinking about it. Plus, the man was shot before, so you can tell a little bit because the way he backed off from sending troops from Chicago. And his explanation that it really didn't make any sense until after this tragedy.
I don't know. It just shouldn't come to this. No matter what you think or what your thought process is. These little children now have no dad. And this type of violence happens every day. And it doesn't have to be Charlie
Yes,
Kirk.
it is.
I look at it for anyone. You know, a 17-year-old that gets killed in a gunfight, an innocent bystander waiting for whatever, gets gunned down and gets caught up in the crossfire, a crime that goes bad, an overdose, I mean, a horrific accident. I mean, I feel, listen, I as much as I wish sometimes things would be different, I know I'm so blessed to have said, look, you live to be 68 years old. You've raised your children. You've seen a lot. You've experienced a lot. You accomplished so much when so many never get that chance, like Charlie Kirk, no matter how much he was worth or how much success. That's way too young to leave this earth, especially when you have a marriage that seems to be working, you know, and you're happy and you have beautiful children and you actually love your wife and your wife loves you. I mean, dear God, that's horrible to see stuff like that. I mean, when there's so many negative things, it's nice to see some happy things. And it's just, every time I try to embrace something, I look around and I see something snatching it from my hands. And that's gut-wrenching to take. I mean, this guy never got to see his kids grow up, go to school, you know, their first date, the prom, college, marriage. I mean, never got to see any of that, become a grandparent. It's just, and he really was, whether you agree with him or not, and there are those who don't, he was just trying to get young people to get up and get motivated. It was like when your parents would push you as a kid sometimes just to light a fire underneath you to get moving. I think he just wanted to get young people engaged in conversation. And because, listen, he took a lot of verbal punishment from these young people. I've been watching some clips, and these young people, some of them were really brutal, but he stood toe-to-toe because he knew in the long run it was about getting them engaged in conversation. So, I don't know. There will be somebody else, and I have a feeling after listening to his wife, she's going to be there right by his side doing what she does. I mean, even though he's no longer there, she's going to be basically pontificating the same type of opportunity because she seems like she's got some fire in her belly.
Yeah, but Rob, you're in the media. What does this say about social media and influencers? Do you think they really would go this far? I mean, I'll just be honest. You know, with violence everywhere, what you say can get you killed now.
Listen, you don't think I don't know that?
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that.
Yeah, but see, you were trained for this. You were built for this.
I don't know.
You talk about kids all of a sudden on social media may not be aware of the environment they're in.
Yeah, but I learned from listening to the news on KDKA radio as a kid, my parents reading the newspaper, having an adult conversation, and debating things to where it got a little heated at times, but in the end, they supported one another. You know, I remember vividly Barry Goldwater in '64 and Lyndon Baines Johnson. My mother a Democrat, my dad a Republican. It got a little fiery at times, but in the end, they basically supported one another. Well, whoever became the president, and obviously it was LBJ. So I'm just saying, we have to learn that it can't always be what you want. You know what I'm saying? It just can't always be. Teddy, I appreciate you, brother. I gotta hop on this next call, and then we're going to get to a bunch of other people that want to talk today. Here's Mary Hours, first alert forecast. Mary, I guess it's going to go up to 85 tomorrow?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we're back to summer-like weather. I was outside yesterday at my daughter's cheer game, and I got a little sunburn.
Nice. Well, listen, I like sun. Hopefully it sticks around for a little bit longer. So what's the weather pattern going to be like over the next 5 days here in the tri-state?
Well, pretty much copy and paste every single day. So it is going to be sunny. It's going to be warm for the Steelers game. Temperatures in the low to mid 80s. We're in the mid to upper 80s tomorrow, still sunny. Mostly sunny Tuesday, mid 80s. Partly cloudy on Wednesday, still in the low 80s. And I'm holding on to the mid 80s. It doesn't look like we see the next chance of showers, maybe even an isolated storm on Saturday. And we're still in the 80s then. So
hey, listen,
really warm.
Nothing wrong with copying and paste because that's how I got out of high school. So it's all
right.
It's all good. That was my AI back in the day. So did you get on a vacation this year at all?
We went at the beginning of June. We went to Pawleys Island.
Where's that?
It's in like just south of Myrtle by like half hour.
Nice. Yeah, fun.
So yeah, it was nice. It was relaxing. Yeah, we kids loved it. It's when you have kids, it's not necessarily a vacation. It's just like watching your kids somewhere else and adding to the chaos.
Listen,
it was nice to be away.
I was talking to my buddy last night, and we're both same age, and he lives on the other side of the country. We were just chopping it up. We were talking about kids and grandkids and what have you. Honestly, I don't know how you get through it, but you get through it. But they are Energizer bunnies, especially when they're real young and they're starting to walk and move around. You can't, there's no time to sit down at all. So I do give you a gold star for what you're going through right now. But it will get better, I promise.
Thank you. It's the cute little, like yesterday, my son, Mommy, play with me. Let's do it together. Let's do it together. Please, Mommy, let's do it together. And I'm like trying to nap, and I'm like, okay.
Listen, what I used to do, because I worked this shift since the mid-'80s, and my kids throughout the years, I'd get little toys, put them on the bed, and I'd just be like half asleep, and I'd be one character 1 minute, then another character the next minute, and it all worked out. But listen, always good talking to you. Good to have you back, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you on TV later today.
I love it. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, Mary Hours, listen, they work hard in television, too. See, one thing about radio, even though we stream live now, I could use a little makeup at this stage of my life, but back in the day, I did a lot of TV for decades. And listen, you got to be awake and knowing what you're doing. And to be a meteorologist, I would always hang out because I spent so much time at KDKA back in the day, that I would have a chance to kind of get down into KDKA television and get back to where they were doing the weather and see the green screen and all the stuff that they have to put together. You got to be a mathematician and a technician. Doing weather is not easy, believe me when I'm telling you. Much more difficult than what your Pratt Pack does. All right, quick break. We'll come back. We'll check some sports. We've got Cynthia. We've got Kathy. A lot of good debate, discussion over this just tragic story that we're going to be talking quite a bit about this week. We've got Dom Costa, former police chief. He'll be here Monday. Oliver Bateman will be here on Tuesday. Worldwide columnist. We'll get his thoughts on what the rest of the world is saying about it as well. And then we'll work our way towards that funeral that's going to be happening next weekend, paying tribute to him, that ceremony in Arizona in which the president will be attending. Short break. Back with more in a moment. It's your Pratt Pack.
The KDKA Mobile News Fleet is driven by Jim Shorkey Kia, North Huntington and Wexford. JimShorkeyKia.com.
News Radio, KDKA, Sports.
Sports brought to you by Coons Market with 8 locations to serve you better, a Pittsburgh tradition. In an overtime thriller, Pitt was on the verge of overcoming a sluggish first half only to cough up a 10-point fourth quarter lead en route to a 31-24 overtime defeat to West Virginia. Elsewhere of local interest games, Penn State defeated Villanova 52-6, Duquesne over Lehigh 35-21. Today, Jerry Schmidt, the head coach of the Dukes, on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show. It was Notre Dame being upset by Texas A&M 41-40. Ohio State, easy day against Ohio University 37-9. Robert Morris over West Liberty 28-14. Today, it's the first home game of the 2025 season for our Pittsburgh Steelers. They kick off at 1 against Seattle at Acrisure Stadium. They are a 3.5-point favorite. And a stellar pitching performance by Bubba Chandler in his second career start in the Bigs. It was the Bucks over Washington 5-1. And Terrence Crawford is the new undisputed super middleweight champion of the world after a 12-round decision over Canelo Alvarez. More sports at 937thefan.com.
Have you been told there is nothing that can be done for your neuropathy? Tri-State Neuropathy Centers is pleased to tell you that's not true. As one of the largest and most successful neuropathy treatment practices in the country, Tri-State Neuropathy Centers has grown to 9 regional centers and helped over 14,000 patients, like Debbie from Venus. Debbie's neuropathy was stealing her mobility to the point she started looking for a wheelchair. Then Debbie found Tri-State Neuropathy Centers. Their effective FDA-approved treatment program changed her life. Her neuropathy symptoms are all gone, and she can walk her dogs and exercise again. Listen to more of her story at marydancedin.com. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers help Debbie, along with thousands of others. Let them help you next. Call 724-940-9000. That's 724-940-9000. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Long live the king.
Return to the magic and mystique of the Renaissance. The Pittsburgh Renaissance Festival is back. 6 magical weekends through September 28th.
It's entertainment. It's fantasy.
It's an adventure. To the past.
Filled with royalty, pageantry, jugglers, and musicians. Comedy, games, fine arts, and crafts. Eat, drink, and be merry at the Pittsburgh Renaissance Festival. Discount tickets available at pittsburghrenfest.com.
Hey folks, it's Marty, Nasco Roofing, the region's roofing leader. Wow, they're good. They continue to exceed customer expectation. For instance, Charles from Bethel Park highly recommends NASCO. Charles was pleased with NASCO's exemplary customer service and the quality of their work. NASCO has satisfied thousands like Charles. Now's the time to get NASCO on your roof. Call NASCO Roofing, 412-373-2000, 412-373-2000. Most jobs done in a day. Special financing available. NASCO, NASCO.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hear about it. Then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, CEO of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, Audrey Russo, Jonathan Kirstein, 15 minutes away with Tech Vibe Radio. Today, Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show, we've got Rick Mancini. He's a professional judge. He actually Beaver County Court of Common Pleas, but sports enthusiast. We're going to be talking about this Larry Bruno Foundation as they're finally open for business, the museum that obviously salutes the history of the coach who was the coach of Joe Namath in Western Pennsylvania sports. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, Lee Corso, legendary coach and broadcaster, recently retiring, actually recruited Judge Mancini many, many years ago when he was at Louisville. So we're going to spend a little time going down memory lane with him and talking about this incredible foundation, 7th Avenue in Beaver Falls. If you get a chance, you got to visit it. They're open throughout the week. If you love high school football, you love history, you're going to absolutely love that place. Jerry Schmidt will be here talking about that loss to Lehigh, the head coach of the Duquesne Dukes. And yeah, it's time to pick our weekly winners against the spread. We go by betrivers.net, and the Steelers are 3.5-point favorites getting ready to take on Cincinnati today. All right, Cynthia in Florida. Hi, Cynthia.
Good morning. You know, a couple of weeks ago, my mother was talking about Bob Mancini. The two of them were friends. That's Rick's father. So I don't know if he's still alive or not.
No, I wouldn't think he would be. Rick's
okay.
Probably a couple years older than me.
Okay. The caller before Ted reminded me of something. The White Rose Society, Hans and Sophie Scholl tried to warn, these were teenagers, tried to warn people about the coming Nazi regime. They were turned in by a janitor, and both of them were beheaded. People are not brave enough anymore to speak out because people are put on watch lists. You see people being fired for daring to have an opinion. And I think it's pretty sad that Charlie Kirk didn't live to change. And his friend, Harrison Smith, is the only person that will put his name on any comments he made. He said Charlie was afraid before he was killed because he turned against Netanyahu. He went to the White House, Charlie did, and he was telling Trump, do not bomb Iran for Israel. Trump actually yelled at him. So there was a rift there. And now here's Netanyahu coming out with every tweet. Oh, we were great friends. No, they weren't. Charlie Kirk was telling people what Israel was doing to us. And that changed. Read a good article by Max Blumenthal about everything that happened. Laura Loomer turned on Charlie Kirk. And Netanyahu actually approached Charlie and said, I'm going to give your organization more money if you do this, do that. Charlie was mad about it. He's like, he's not going to censor me. He invited him to go to Israel. He didn't go to Israel, and now he's dead. It's too bad he didn't live to change.
All right, Cynthia, I got to get one more call in here before the top of the hour. Let's go to Kathy in Imperial. Kathy, you got about 3 minutes. It's all yours. Good morning.
Okay, thanks, Rob. I wish Cynthia would cite her sources because I find them very interesting. All this inside information she always seems to have. Anyway, what I called to talk about is, well, here's one person who's not afraid. I'm not afraid at all. I am proud to align myself with the rest of this country, the 81 million plus people who are also not afraid, to continue to exhibit peace through strength. I am extremely proud to walk alongside of my fellow Americans of all races and lifestyles, because we all turned out on November 5th, 2024, and we put Donald Trump back in the White House, and here's why. What happened with Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to use this analogy, and if it seems corny, whatever, but I'm going to use it because I think it's appropriate. In the movie Star Wars, when Obi-Wan was fighting Darth Vader and Luke was walking through the hallway and looked down and saw the battle and was scared that Darth Vader would kill Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan looked at Luke, dropped his lightsaber, and allowed Darth Vader to strike him down. And what did he say? He said, "If he strikes me down, I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine." This keeps happening over and over again, and you keep seeing people show up and stand up and keep going with peace through strength, as I will continue to do, as thankfully the majority of America will continue to do. And what do? We don't get caught up in our emotions and burn things down or retaliate. What we do is we organize, and we continue on the focal point, which is we love this country, we love family, we want to see good things happen, we want to see crime go down, we want to see people be able to flourish, people to be able to buy a house and raise their children, and children to remain innocent. That's the focus. That's what we'll continue to do. That's what Charlie, even though his delivery, because he had a focus, and it seemed abrasive when he would counter people challenging him about things like, let's use transgender for an example. What he continuously said is, we are created in the image of God. You were made perfectly just as you are. That's what he would say. It wasn't hate.
Okay, I got to get to the news. I appreciate it, Kathy. We're going to be on this topic all week. Please feel free, if you didn't get through today or got a busy signal, join me this week from 6 to 10. I'm sure my colleagues will be talking a lot about it as well. We got Dom Costa, former police chief, Pittsburgh. Monday night, Oliver Bateman, a worldwide columnist, on Tuesday. And then Phil DeLaCente will join us, because obviously after this man makes his first court appearance on Tuesday, going to be some things to talk about as well. All right, stay tuned. News coming up at 6. We'll be back with you in an hour with the organic gardener, Doug Oster, and then the Coons Cooking Hour, and then Dr. Shufo at 9.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
Our own political analyst, Lenny McAllister. Lenny, thinking about Charlie Kirk and his family, both sides of the aisle coming out against political violence. How do we begin to find a way to heal?
I'm hoping that people that have the platforms handle this in a way that really takes into consideration where we are as a country.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA. Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
If you're over 60 and looking for a weight loss program built specifically for you, Awaken 180 is your solution with Awaken 180 Golden, a new 1 to 3 month program for fast weight loss tailored to those over 60. Online at awaken180weightloss.com. It's the weekly program that keeps you current with the latest travel trends and vacation values. Listen to AAA's Talking Travel every Saturday morning at 11 on KDKA Radio. Looking for an incredible Pittsburgh fresh-made hoagie? Visit Tim's Corner Market in Beachview. Fresh house-made bread stacked high with the finest meats and premium toppings and packed with Pittsburgh flavor. The hoagie you didn't know you needed at Tim's Corner Market on Broadway Avenue in Beachview.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
Make 380 Auction to Murraysville your next stop for discounts and bargains. Trucks come in every week. 380 Auction has name brand furniture, fall mums, also tools, birdseed, automotive supplies, pet supplies, lawn and garden, toys, food, and new items arriving daily. 380 Auction is open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or call 724-339-3132. That's 724-339-3132. Or log on to shop380.com and save.
You want a roof that doesn't leak. Of course, that's a given. You need a roofing partner with the experience and know-how to ensure the structural integrity and energy efficiency of your roof. Trust PJ Fitzpatrick with their 45 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and lifetime guarantee on materials and labor. Our professionals install most roofs in just one day. PJ Fitzpatrick has a variety of financing packages that work with any budget. Visit trustpj.com today. That's trustpj.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
It is 60 degrees now at Pittsburgh International at 6 o'clock. I'm Rob Taylor. A fire at an apartment building in Swissville sent 2 people to the hospital. That fire broke out just after noon on Saturday in the 500 block of Smoky Wood Drive. 2 people were rescued from an apartment building window by firefighters. No word on their conditions at this hour. Now, in all, 6 apartments in the building were damaged. Cause of the fire is under investigation. A crash in North Apollo, Armstrong County has claimed the life of a 19-year-old man. Police say the crash happened at Pegtown Avenue and River Road just before 10 o'clock Friday night. The man who died was identified by the Armstrong County Coroner's Office as Jace Ho III of Kiski Township. Cause of the crash is under investigation. Reaction from allies and supporters of conservative activist Charlie Kirk continues after his death on Wednesday. Here's CBS News reporter Andres Gutierrez.
While followers continue to mourn Kirk, authorities continue to investigate Kirk's alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old man from Utah.
I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing.
Robinson's father recognized his son and urged him to turn himself in. Those who knew Robinson say they're shocked.
All this, I feel like, not just to me, but everyone else, has come really unexpected.
President Trump said he intends to attend Kirk's funeral. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, St. George, Utah.
With the holidays around the corner, it's the start of crunch time for gift-making companies. News Radio KDK's David Ballarado reports that one well-known candy company is struggling to find workers.
We're struggling to find people now.
Bill Saris of Saris Candy says finding workers has been a challenge ever since the pandemic 5 years ago. And despite offering competitive wages and benefits, it's hard to find employees as they move into their new production facility.
So come February, we'll be able to let people walk through. It's a mezzanine type thing, so they can look through, oversee all the production area of what we're doing, see them, our kitchens, cooking, things like that.
But he says they could still use about another 30 people to help make chocolate.
We're struggling to find people now.
He says many of their employees are older, some into their 80s, who still show up for work every day and enjoy it. David Ballarado, News Radio, KDKA.
KDK Radio News Time coming up on 6:03. It's time to call Highwoods